Oh, well, hello there, beautiful human. I am Andrea Dawn, and today I am here to talk to you about having a successful yoga practice. I have been practicing for about 13 years, teaching for about 12, and have certainly gone through having peaks and valleys in my own personal practice. So what I'd like to share with you is what I have learned about reaping the benefits of yoga, of which there are an innumerable amount. So first of all, is to have a space, a dedicated space for your practice. I know that sometimes this can be difficult depending on where you are. I've just spent the past 3 years of my life roaming, trying to find a home. And so that has been especially difficult for me in having a consistent practice. So anywhere you can find, even if it's in a closet, but setting up a sacred space is so important. There are so many distractions in life. And so we want to give ourselves the best opportunity we can to not be distracted, and also be intentional so that we have all of the props that we need. I have a folded blanket, I have a mat, I have my favorite cushion that I like to sit on, I have my journal, I have my instruments, I have my incense, I have my harmonium. And so whatever it is for you that feels like it's special and it helps you tune into yourself. So I like the sage or the incense to help clear and cleanse the space. I like instruments because those help me attune to my own vibration. Sometimes I need props for my practice. If I have a lot more going on in the space, I'll tend to be distracted. Turn off your phone, turn off notifications, tell your people. This is important. If they want you to come as the best version of yourself, they will reap the benefits of your practice just as much as you will. Leave you alone. When the door is closed, when you say that you are practicing, that is a time, unless it is an absolute emergency and maybe you have a special word for that, they absolutely leave you alone during this time. So your space is so important. Number 2, get clear. What even is yoga? And there are so many definitions out there. It's important for you to do some research. And even if you're just starting, it's okay. There's lifetimes worth of information about yoga for you to study and get acquainted with. Just start small, one little reading a day. Your svadhyaya, meaning your self-study, is what this practice is all about. It's learning about who is you, what are you, what are you doing here? And when we learn to enhance our awareness of ourself, our own patterns, our own ways of being, we can see where they're adding quality to our life or taking away quality from our life. It's not about judging ourselves. It's not about being harsh on ourselves. In fact, it's about seeing where we are being harsh on ourselves and how we can develop compassion for those tendencies and patterns and habits, and then how we can improve those. We can also look at where they may have came from. So oftentimes they come from our parents or from even past lifetimes. And when we can recognize and stop blaming and being a victim, we can then empower ourselves. So for me, the definition of yoga is yearning to operate and grow in authenticity, awareness, and agency. I am definitely a people pleaser. And so part of my practice became about trying to please the instructor, trying to please what I thought the audience wanted. And so part of the practice for me is that agency, that part of standing in my own power. What do you think, Andrea? What is it that you actually think? And can you stand by that even when people are saying otherwise? So that agency part of the practice. Or we get caught in trying to look a certain way or accomplish a certain posture instead of it being about how is this benefiting me? How am I being nourished from this posture? How is it adding to the quality of my life? And remember, there's so much more to the practice than postures. However, that's kind of what we're doing here. So just knowing that asana part is the part of the physical practice. And then you can dive even deeper into the philosophy, and I will have tons of videos all about that for you as well. So that is that clarity part. So what is a successful practice for you? Get clear. Is it 2 times a week? Is it 1 time a week? Is it 4 times a week? How long will you be practicing? Set a schedule for yourself, right? And then be true to yourself. Honor your word. So don't make it crazy. We're not going to start with 7 days a week, a 2-hour practice. Let's start with 2 days a week for a 10-minute practice so that we can start to develop that relationship with ourselves where we know that we tell ourselves the truth. We know that when we say we're going to do a thing, we do the thing, right? When we have that reliance on ourselves and we trust ourselves, others will follow along. And then we're not desperate for that attention from others because we've given it to ourselves. So that clarity is so important, right? So that's number 2 is get clear, set a schedule. And then let's see what number 3 is, put it in your schedule, right? So know exactly when you're going to do it. I'm going to do it on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm going to do it on Monday and Thursday. And then I have an alternate day in case something crazy would come up and I miss it. Set it in your schedule. Make it a priority, right? Whatever you make a priority in your life is what will flourish and grow and develop. But you are the one who has to make it a priority. We can't put that dependence upon anyone else. So it might mean waking up early. It might mean doing something different on our lunch break. It might mean deciding not to go out with friends. So whatever that is for you, set it in your schedule. The next one is to be accountable. How are you going to be accountable for this? This is where we need our Sangha, our spiritual community. So tell somebody about what you're doing. I tend to be a people pleaser. So instead of ragging on myself for this, let me use it for my benefit. Let me text my friend. Let me call my friend and be like, listen, I'm starting a yoga practice. I need to be held accountable, so I'm telling you about it. Will you check in with me on Friday? Can you send me a text on Friday? Ask for support. I'm here for your support as well. So I'd love to be your accountability partner in whatever way that means. And then finally, the last one is to reflect. And this is a part that we often skip. We hear it, but we don't actually do it, is reflect. Reflect in your journal. Write. How was your practice this week? How did it affect you? Did you notice any change? The answer might be no. But when we make those observations, we can then turn back and then readjust for the coming week ahead. So what didn't work, what worked, what will I adjust and fine tune this week? When we are just kind of willy-nilly about it, which often happens in the spiritual world, it's interesting, but I find that I see in the spiritual world a lot more excuses for our kind of floating away. And this doesn't mean that we don't go with the flow of life. We do. And also we prioritize and we stick with what we say we're going to do. We have that self-reliance that we talked about earlier. So I hope this was helpful, and please comment with any of your tips and tricks and suggestions in having a successful yoga practice. And I hope to see you in the next video where we are practicing. My heart sees and feels and smiles to yours. Namaste, yogis.